you really like to use recreational substances.
Every day after school, to the coffee shop too, you know?
We are like kind of shy people. I think that's also why we drink a lot, to be more social.
You look so happy saying that.
Yeah, I like beer.
All just alcoholics, it seems.
Yeah.
Hello! You guys, what is the first thought that comes to mind when you think about each other's countries?
Directness and seriousness. There's no fun in Europe.
I don't know why, but I think about Wurst when I think about Germany. Like sausage and also beer.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
And Norway, I think about mountains and little thing you have on your head. What? What is it called?
Like a Santa hat?
America, this is really stereotypical, I'm sorry. But I think about like movies and Hollywood.
I thought you were gonna say eagles and hamburgers.
No. Danish people are quite like laid back and like a lot of thrifting. At least when I went to Copenhagen, it's like very like cool hipster. That's my stereotype about Danish people, I think. And I think also like that from what I heard that Germans are really like following the rules. And for the Netherlands, I think also very like chill, laid back people. Tulips, biking, canals. These are the things that come to mind.
Danish people, they have something stuck in their throat
like
when they talk. Yeah. So I think a lot of that. And then for Norway, our languages kind of sound like we're singing, right? But to us, I feel like Norwegian sounds even more like that. Not to be mean, but I feel like we would probably say like, oh, it sounds a little bit silly sometimes, like Norwegian.
Yeah, for Denmark, the ones that I met there kind of told me that you guys often come over to drink beer because it's cheaper. So I kind of associate Denmark with beer as well. And I heard it's like a really like happy country to live in. And then Norway is kind of like associated a lot with like Vikings and a lot of fish. And then Sweden, I think usually people always often say that, oh, like Swedish girls are like blonde and blue-eyed and tall and very pretty. And then America, unhealthy food. More to the sense that what kind of ingredients and like stuff you put in your food, that is like a lot of that is actually banned in Europe.
Like they add so much flavor.
Yeah, I'm sure.
When I think of Sweden, I think of Midsummer because of the movie, to be honest. When I think of the States, I also think about beautiful nature, but also about crazy people. Sorry. Yeah, the Florida man. And when I think of the Dutch people, I think about stroopwafels and the sprinkles, the chocolate sprinkles.
For me, when I think about Denmark, I think about Legoland. I'm sorry. I always wanted to visit, so that is the first thing that comes to mind, as well as the interior thing, like Swedish and Danish, like interior design. For Norway, I think about a lot of folklore, like pretty nature, laid-back people who really value their health, but also the environment's health. For Sweden, there's only like one thing that comes to mind. It's like ABBA, Eurovision, like music, more pop culture oriented things. For America, a lot of nationalism. Like when you go to school, like pledge allegiance to the flag, like the national anthem is very important.
Yeah.
America first, you know? And for Germany, I think about like the Christmas markets. I love the Christmas markets, like the tasty food, the mushrooms, fun, like ice skating, like during Christmas. I love alcohol as well.
So I think there's this stereotype about German people that they're kind of hard to get to know or they can be distant. Do you guys think that?
I used to live with like 5 Germans for a year and I never really got to know any of them. So I would say from my perspective, it's quite true, yeah.
I think generally Northern people, and I mean like almost everybody here in the room is more introverted than extroverted, and we love our personal space. So yeah, I kind of agree.
I think it also depends where you kind of go in Germany, but the overall thing about Germans that we're a little maybe distant might be a little true.
What about the thing for Germans wearing socks with sandals? It's you who started that?
I don't know where this came from. I mean, I think old people, you might see old people do that. Or maybe if someone is like living, like they're at home and they just run out to like grab something like groceries or something.
That makes sense, but there's like this joke in America. Everyone hates socks with sandals. It's like a joke, if you do that, you're so lame. You're like the lamest person ever. But sometimes, like if a celebrity does it, it's suddenly cool. Socks with sandals, they're back. Yeah, a love-hate relationship.
I feel like I definitely associate Germans with socks and sandals, especially maybe guys. It would be the socks, sandals, like shorts, maybe cargo shorts, like a t-shirt and a backpack. You know, the typical German tourist vibe almost.
Yeah, a little bit like active kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's definitely a stereotype that we talk about too.
That's so funny.
I think I've never seen someone my age wearing sandals and socks and shorts and a backpack.
I've seen it.
Really?
I've definitely seen it.
Must have been traumatic.
Well, I think Germans will never be well known for their sense of fashion.
I agree, but socks and sandals are not that common these days, I
No,
think.
they're not common, yeah.
So like what I get from this, these stereotypes is that like Germans are really focused on maybe efficiency more than fashion. It kind of goes along with the stereotype of them being hard to get close to. They're just like, I'm living my life, don't bother me. And the next we have the Netherlands, okay? I heard that you people are cheap and you like to Dutch pay. Is this true?
Possible. I mean, I can't deny it. I'm familiar with the stereotype. There is a lot of memes in the Netherlands. Paid for something with a friend, even if it's just like €1, you'll send them like a tikkie or like ask them for like 50 cents back.
Oh my god.
I have personally never done that. I personally am more into like the payment tracking app. We have apps for this. You put in who pay what, and in the end, like you can even it out. Yeah, it's a whole culture.
Literally called Dutch pay, so I guess it comes from that for a reason.
We don't call it that though.
Oh, well, what do you call it?
Just pay. I heard in some countries they call it German pay.
Oh.
I heard about that.
I mean, Germans can be stingy about their money too. That's a big stereotype that often revolves around Germans, I think.
I think we're not that stingy, actually.
I think nowadays, not really.
The older generation used to tell me you can only spend your money once, so spend it wisely.
I mean, that's true.
So, I've also heard in the Netherlands, you really like to use recreational substances.
So, from my personal experience, I have never used those recreational substances. Mostly when I go to places that sell this kind of stuff, I see a lot of Germans, a lot of Americans, like foreigners buying it and using it. It's so normal in the Netherlands that the Dutch don't really seem to care that much. And surprisingly, when you look up the statistics, other countries tend to use these substances a lot more compared to the Dutch.
I heard about that. Actually, Dutch people don't really do it much compared to a lot of countries.
I would say most young people maybe try it like once just to see what it's about, but it's not like every day after school, like high schoolers go to the coffee shop to, you know?
Actually, I think in Germany it's legalized by now, so...
I think maybe Germans did maybe use it a bit more, just also because the thrill of it maybe, because it wasn't really legal in Germany, so and it's very freely available in the Netherlands, so maybe for the Dutch people it's maybe just like, oh, it's there, it's maybe more like similar to alcohol, like, oh, if I want to have a drink, I can have a drink, but I don't need a drink.
Yeah, I think the same. Like, I heard some people who go to try it in the Netherlands, I guess it's more thrilling because, yeah, you can't really like do it legally in Norway, but yeah, I get that. It would just be like a regular, like accessible thing in the Netherlands, so it might be more interesting to tourists.
Yeah, I think it's the same in Denmark.
Sweden, let's go, it's your turn. So, is all the furniture in Sweden from IKEA?
I do feel like Swedish people love IKEA. I think maybe for your first home or something, your first apartment, then IKEA is a pretty good option. Like, I mean, it's maybe not super affordable, but it's not that expensive and they have a lot to choose from. Here in Korea, I have furniture from IKEA.
Of course, don't we all?
I do.
I love the IKEA food too.
That's where I go to get Swedish food.
Yeah, so universal experience, IKEA is the queen of furniture. It's confirmed by a Swedish person.
Exactly. I think IKEA used to be a lot more popular a couple of years ago, and I feel like it's getting a little less popular in Germany right now. But I think it's because it was a little cheaper a couple of years ago, and I feel like it's kind of getting a little more expensive. So it's not like everything in your house is from IKEA, but I think in every house you can find at least like one furniture piece from IKEA.
So, is it true that Swedish people are offended by a lot of things?
Actually, this is the first time I've heard this. I don't think I'm very easily offended. Maybe I'm wrong.
Let's hear. Do you guys think that?
I once told a Swede that I didn't like your hot dog with the shrimp salad on it, and he got really offended.
Maybe it is true.
But that's the only thing that, like, only time that happened.
No, because I feel like, I mean, I don't know if it's for Norway and Denmark, but one of my closest friends here, she's Finnish, and I feel like Finnish people are very nationalistic, and I feel like Swedish people are not that nationalistic. So if I say something about Finland, she'll get very upset, but she'll say something about Sweden, I just don't care.
I actually heard about this stereotype from my little sister, and I don't think it's necessarily about like the culture, but I think Swedish people tend to be pretty politically correct, to put it like that. So politically, I guess maybe that can be the case. I haven't met enough Swedish people to say if this is true or not, but I did hear about it, like the political correctness and the offense based on those.
I think that is quite true, like especially the younger generation. People tend to be more, politically correct. If someone were to say something racist or sexist, then perhaps people are more likely to say something,
Yeah, I think we have the same in Norway, but I think like from what I heard, it's even more like that in Sweden.
So I think maybe this stereotype, it could be true, but it's definitely not something remarkably more than other places. It is funny about the shrimp hot dog though, because that does sound nasty to me.
Potato mash and shrimp salad on top of a sausage.
Okay, well it's your turn, Denmark. Is it true that a lot of Danish people are really hard drinkers?
Yeah.
Straight up.
Beer is really cheap, I think.
You look so happy saying that.
Yeah, I like beer. We have a lot of beer brands from Denmark, like Carlsberg is Danish. But yeah, we drink a lot of beer.
And you guys also think this?
I wonder if this is not just a stereotype about Europeans in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everyone kind of in Europe is considered.
That could be true for like all the countries, I think.
Yeah.
like all the European countries, and maybe especially like northern and eastern-ish part as well.
Yeah, also for like France or Italy, they're like, oh, they drink a lot of wine instead of beer maybe then.
All just alcoholics, it seems. Well, on the flip side, I heard that Danish people can be so reserved.
Yeah, we are reserved. We are also the smallest country, so I think we live closer together, you know. But yeah, we are reserved. We are like kind of shy people. I think that's also why we drink a lot, to be more social. Yeah, I think so.
Do you think the Danish people are more reserved than your own country?
Definitely.
Oh.
I mean, the Dutch are kind of wild.
I've never heard that stereotype ever before, honestly. No. Yeah, I think Germans don't really think that.
Maybe it's because you guys can be also reserved.
Maybe, I don't know.
Like, do you talk to strangers normally a lot?
Germans sometimes randomly chat, have small talk, and like compliment on something. But I think compared to like Southern Europe, probably more reserved. But I hear the stereotype the first time about Denmark.
Yeah. That makes total sense. So now we're going to talk about Norway.
I know one of them, I think. Rich people.
Everyone drives a Tesla or something.
So, can you please explain to me, what is this stereotype about everyone being a Viking?
I guess it's just related to history that our ancestors were Vikings. I don't know if I really resonate with it much these days though.
You don't resonate.
I'm wondering, do you have a different word for Vikings?
No, we literally say Viking.
Oh.
It's just a different pronunciation.
Well, do you guys, when you think about Norway, do you think about Vikings?
History-wise, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, oh, they're all Vikings, because I think it's maybe a little outdated, but history-wise, I think it's very interesting history.
Like, do you have a Viking helmet in your house?
No. Don't really have anything related to Vikings in my house, I would say.
So, are all Norwegians tall white people?
I can't really say, I mean, I'm literally a tall white person, so I guess I fit the stereotype personally. We do have a lot of tall white people, but I would say we also have like a lot of different looking people as well. Like you can definitely see a Norwegian person that's short with black hair. Yeah, somewhat of a multicultural country, so there's definitely Norwegians of all sorts of
appearances.
Yes.
Yeah. And also, do you guys feel, have you thought of the stereotype that Norwegians eat so much fish every day? Salmon, mackerel.
Heard about it.
I feel like the salmon one, maybe, because a lot of salmon is from Norway anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that it's very normal to eat fish. I mean, my mom would always force me to eat fish growing up, and I don't even like fish.
Really? Not at all?
No, I really don't like fish, and it got to like the point where when I moved out, I was so used to the mindset of having to eat fish that I still forced myself to eat fish.
Oh wow.
So I would say it's quite normal to eat fish. If not every day, like you would probably eat it a couple of times a week.
Okay, so you guys, how do you feel about America? Tell me more. You just thought something.
There's so many thoughts. I think there is a stereotype in Europe that Americans tend to be a bit loud.
Yeah.
I mean, you can always spot them quite easily.
Oh, if they're in the wild.
Americans in the wild. They also seem to like other Americans a lot, from what I heard.
It's totally true. Like, even in America, if you meet someone and you're like, oh, you're from Boston? Like, I grew up in Boston. They're just suddenly best friends. Like, it's an interesting...
That thing about Boston, now that you say that, introducing themselves not as an American,
Yeah.
but as someone from like Texas.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
It's always like, where are you from? Oh, I'm from New York. What country is that?
I mean, how was it to talk about all these stereotypes for each of y'all's country today?
I think it was quite fun.
Yeah, it
like,
was fun.
breaking down some stereotypes, like both confirming some and then just canceling some other ones. I think that was like we learned something new today.
Yeah, I think it was really fun. I enjoyed it. I learned a lot of new things. Some things were already familiar or similar. I think it was really informative, but also fun.
I agree. I didn't know that much about Denmark and Norway before I came here, so it was really nice to, learn a bit about the stereotypes and also about which stereotypes are true and which ones are not.
Today we talked about the stereotypes of all our countries.
If you liked the video, please like, subscribe, and comment down below.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.